I am delighted to be joined today by Mark Newberry, Commercial Director, UK and Ireland for Europcar. Hello, Mark.
Hi, John. How are you?
I am utterly fabulous, sir. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a good week. It's been a busy day. It's been the last school day of term. We've had to collect our kids. 2 are changing schools. There's been emotions. It's been a big day, but it's been a good day.
Brilliant. Good. A bit chaotic, perhaps?
Yes, very much so. Very much.
A little bit like the EV Rally that we both just did.
Completely so, yeah.
So let's just go over that. 1,200 miles in 5 days, 5 capitals, Cardiff to London, London to Edinburgh, Edinburgh to Belfast, Belfast to Dublin, 50 vehicles, cars, vans, trucks, and we all got there. How was the experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, when you sum it up like that, it's just an extraordinary thing to be involved in. I think if I'm to try and summarize it in 5 words, it was educational, it was team building, it was collaborative, it was exhausting, as I'm sure you'll testify to, and it was also loads of fun. And if I just kind of unpack those a bit, so in terms of educational, so we wanted to gain even deeper insights to what it's like to be an EV motorist, and we knew that this event would test our capabilities, and we could take those learnings and use them to help our teams and our staff and our drivers and our customers as they make the transition. And covering 1,200 miles across that terrain was just extraordinary. So the learnings we got were really rich, and we're going to use them. Now, in terms of team building, when you're doing that kind of challenge, you work with your colleagues, you get to know each other. But we had 25 folk from across the business involved, from different teams and so on. So when you're spending that level of time together, completing a challenge as challenging as that, you really come out of it a stronger team. So that was wonderful too. And then kind of building on that theme, we were doing this thing with other organizations, like-minded organizations who are themselves pushing forward the message of sustainability and carbon friendly mobility. So it's great to be able to chew the fat, to be able to create some contacts, to get to know them, to take some inspiration. So the collaboration element was brilliant too. In terms of exhausting, so we generally think of a 9 to 5. This wasn't quite 5 to 9, but it wasn't far off. There were some days you're leaving at 7 and you're getting in at 9, and we were coordinating our 4 vehicles. We'd also chosen to take a media crew with us, which was great because we could capture all the content, and we've got about 40 hours of footage that we're working through to capture the insights and to share the lessons of the learning and to help people with the transition. But it did put another little thing for us to work through. We're putting people like me and my colleagues, we're not really media folk, in front of the cameras. It gave us a newfound respect for the work that people like yourself do. And then I think fun. Yeah, right. So it was work, but it was a lot of fun. We got to see some wonderful things. We got to tour around the country. We got to drive some wonderful cars. And a personal pride moment, I think, for Europcar. So we really, our checkpoints that we hosted on day 1 of the rally was at the Mattioli Woods, Welford Road, Leicester Tigers rugby stadium. And we've been headquartered in Leicester for the best part of 20 years. So that community is kind of deep in our roots. And we'd made a decision some time back to sponsor the West Stand, the iconic West Stand of that stadium. And we've been working on that project, and we've been working on the EV Rally project. And we had this moment on the Monday of the rally where those 2 projects converged. And before you know it, you're interviewing me in front of 4 branded Europcar vehicles in front of the West Stand that we've just sponsored. It was a wonderful moment. And yeah, I know that moment meant a lot to our team, our marketing team and the Leicester Tigers team who've worked so hard on both these projects. It was a really wonderful moment. So it was exhausting. It was fun. We've learned loads. And we're really grateful to EV Rally for having us along and for the experience.
Mark, that I can reciprocate that excitement that you articulate, because I was able to drop 2 drop goals over the posts at Welford Road, at Mettioli Woods, Welford Road, a lifetime's ambition, because I used to live in Leicester and that was my local rugby ground. So to be able to do that as your guest was massive. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No,
in terms of the charging infrastructure, there's a lot of questions around charging. Can it cope? Is it good enough? Have we got the right charges in the right place? What was your experience after covering those 1,200 miles?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I think with any emerging technology, there are challenges that you have to push through, and you're always on a journey from where you are to better. And I think some of the media, some of the red tops at the minute are kind of latching onto some of these themes and blowing them out of proportion. So this is a great way to do a real world test and put some kind of fact back into the market. So our experience was you can do long distances day after day after day, and the charging infrastructure will support your mobility. It wasn't just us. 50 vehicles did 1,200 miles each. That's 60,000 electronic miles that were supported by the charging infrastructure. So of course there are times, so in Northern Ireland their infrastructure isn't yet as developed as it is here in the UK, but even in that infrastructure we still coped. We still were able to get around and do the journeys that we wanted to. And it was a really, really thorough examination, I think, of the charging infrastructure, because you've got 50 vehicles going in the same direction, zigzagging across the country, using some of the similar charging networks. There weren't these massive queues that you see in the papers. The chargers were working, and we were using a wide range of chargers as well. And so from that, we got some learnings. I think these learnings might be more known to us in the industry, but let's go through them because we want to help everyone understand that you can make this transition. There's a thing called destination charging, and that's where you charge at the place that you arrive at. So if you're staying overnight, plug in, you wake up in the morning and you're good to go. Or if you arrive at a location, you can charge. There's another one that we talked about, and Sam Clark I know talks about it a fair bit. I've called it grazing. It's kind of instead of having a big meal, you just kind of graze throughout the day. So this is, instead of stopping to charge, you stop because you're having a cup of tea and you need to freshen up, and you plug in while you're there, and you get these little increments of charge, and it gives you the momentum just to keep on going. It's really time efficient. So grazing. Another learning is to know the charging speed that your vehicle can receive. So we were super lucky to partner with Volkswagen. We had 4 wonderful vehicles from Volkswagen Group. But we as drivers hadn't driven those vehicles before. And so we had to learn what's the speed of charge that those vehicles can receive, because it helps inform the charger that you select. So there's a bit of a basic thing here that you would actually have if you were driving an ICE or a diesel. Just know your car. So that's good. And then secondly, in terms of knowing your vehicle, understanding its efficiency. So I also call it being a tortoise and not the hare. 70 is plenty, right? If you're on the motorway, why don't we just drive within the speed limit and you're fine? That's a really efficient way of driving your EV. The charge will last a decent amount. It's an endurable drive and driving safely. So there's a load of learnings there that we've been able to take. We've got some online EV information packs that we can use to give to customers, and we're using the learnings that we've got to enrich in that and help make those handovers to customers when they're receiving an EV for the first time. And our certified EV ambassadors are giving them the walk around of the car and handing it over. We're just able to really inform them about the vehicle and those learnings to make that transition faster and easier. So the network is still progressing, but it supported our trip. It supported the EV Rally's trip.
So you're talking very much, Mark, about your experience gained from really just a relatively short space of time. A week is enough to learn these kind of basic lessons about living with an EV. And I guess that's where Europcar has a real strength, in that anybody who fancies trying an electric vehicle can just get hold of you guys and say, can I have an electric car for a week? And they can rent it and live with it and experience these things for themselves and see if it will fit into their lives. It's
a great way to try before you buy. So we've got an ever-growing range of electric vehicles. We're super flexible in terms of the length of period that you could have one, so you don't have to take the risk of buying an expensive asset. we take the risk on behalf of SMEs and organisations up and down the country. We stock our fleet with a really good range of EVs, and you can have it for a day, a week, a month, on a flexible basis. There's no long-term commitment, and you can use it to transition your fleet today that might be petrol and diesel into EVs. We have customers who might be working on a project in a different location, and they quickly need to fleet up. We can help them solve that challenge. So there's lots of use cases. And before I joined Europcar, I used to think of car rental as being leisure and holidays, but actually it's a really, really fundamental part of the business infrastructure here, and we power SMEs and businesses to run their business. So it's a super flexible way of trying EVs. So give us a shout.
I think the other use case that I've come across is that there are a lot of people who are saying my EV has to go in for its regular service or to have a new tyre, and it will be off the road for a day. And that's the opportunity, because ordinarily a rental company will say, well, here is another internal combustion engine vehicle. But you don't have to do that. You can come to Europcar, you have those vehicles available, and you can have them, as you say, in a flexible way. And
we have customers who mentally, emotionally have converted to the idea of having an EV. They've placed an order for an EV, and they're on a waiting list for 6 months. And if they're able to, and if they want to make that transition earlier, they can use us to try again to experience the EV before it comes. Or they have a breakdown, they have an accident, they're about their mode of transport for a period of time. Again, we can fill that gap. So the more you think about the fact we're an organisation that helps you maintain your mobility, we can help you maintain your EV mobility. There are lots of use cases for us.
Now, it's very easy to talk about the good things and the things that went well and the learnings and all that positive stuff. Was there anything which was difficult on the journey? Because it was designed to test the systems, if you like. Was there anything tough?
Yeah, and it's interesting actually. Just kind of psychologically, I do tend to look at the positive things, and even the challenges or the problems I reposition as learnings, because they're just an opportunity to go, that didn't work quite as we wanted to. So what do we do about it? And then let's go fix it. And the next time it works better. No, I think we covered the geography well. There were some times we got lost. So that's interesting. I think we'd had 25 drivers coming and going and spending different times. So definitely making sure that as your drivers drive a vehicle for the first time, do the obvious things. Just understand the route. The rudiments of the vehicle, but also receive that information in terms of its efficiency and its driving capability. Knowing your route, knowing chargers. So us in the industry, we're probably aware of some of the apps that you can have that help inform you where the chargers are. But if you're not in the industry, you might not know. But there are these tools that can help you. You can plan a route, and they will tell you where the chargers are, and it will tell you how many chargers are there. They'll tell you broadly the speeds of the chargers, and when they were last used, and that everything was working fine, or one might be charging slow, but you're informed. So there's just a little bit of work needed just to plan your route. And I guess that's tested to the limit on such an extreme trip. But when you have an EV and you're using it day in, day out, you know where your charger is, and you know what your routes are, and you know that you're probably going to go to work and back, and you can do that without charging en route anyway. And so actually the reality of living and working with an EV is much, much simpler than what we experienced on this trip. And, I guess everything I'd say is chargers in themselves, there are ever more locations of chargers. And then when you go to the charger locations, there are more charger units at the location. So whereas it might have been 2 in the corner of a car park, there are now 5 or 10 or 25 or 50 if it's a super hub. And then not only is there more of them, then it's also becoming faster. And so actually it's just going to become easier to charge. So a bit of planning, know your route, know your car, know where the chargers are, and that will help you mitigate some of the challenges.
Now, talking of challenges, businesses have huge sustainability challenges. How has the rally helped Europcar meet some of its sustainable mobility aims?
Yeah. So, so our aims haven't changed. So we entered the rally absolutely committed to help drive the transition onto a sustainable mobility. And if anything, it's just kind of reinforced our beliefs and made us want to double down and try to do more and do it faster. And there are lots of ways in which we can help organizations do this. We talked earlier about the role that rental can play. You can try before you buy. You can try an EV on a flexible basis. If you're scaling up, scaling down, if you're transitioning your fleet, we are there to help you. And now we've got these 40 hours of content that we can really hone in on to bring the lessons and the learnings and the experience to life. So yeah, it's just really confirms that we're doing the right thing. We're trying to make a positive difference. We want to try and bring everybody on the journey with us. Every ice mile that we can replace with an EV mile counts. We just want to count those miles and really increase the transition over to sustainable mobility.
Fantastic. Europcar get you on the right road, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Superb. You've been an absolute wonder to work with, and your team of people are just phenomenal. I've known one or two of the team, and meeting that wider team on the rally gave me an insight that you have real strength in depth, that it's not just you as a figurehead or one individual. There's a team vision and a group of objectives that have come together to really deliver. Mark, your business is stunning.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm really, really proud of the team. Yeah. I'm lucky enough that I get to do these bits. What was wonderful about the rally was we had lots of people experiencing it. And we had a moment. We called into our Heathrow station, and one of our rental operatives there came out and asked for a photo in front of the vehicles because he felt so proud over our participation in the rally and the vehicles that we had there. So it meant an awful lot to our people. We want to make a positive difference, and things like this are helping us put us on that journey.
Mark, you make a difference every minute of every day. Thank you so much for you and your team and the commitment that you've showed to the EV Rally. Might we see you back again?
Oh, fingers crossed.
You tease. Fantastic. Mark Newberry from Europcar. Thank you so much.
Smashing. Thanks, John.